Right.
for vampire movie.
Let me give Blake a break here. All right, so I was just like Vic. This was just like Nightmare Before Christmas for me for most of my life. I just never saw the appeal of it. I always loved Fright Night. In fact, let me just give you guys a little update on something. We've got a poll up on Travis and Vic's Drunken Horror Adventures on Facebook, and the poll is, which vampire movie do you like better? Or which vampire movie is better, Fright Night or Lost Boys? And to be honest with you guys, it's an absolute ass-whipping. Lost Boys has stomped Fright Night with 467 votes. Lost Boys is winning 73% to 27%. Let me tell you the discrepancy. 340 votes for Lost Boys and 127 for Fright Night. It was not even close. Now, I know Lost Boys is loved. I talk about this frequently. You know, every time I say I'm watching Lost Boys, I get like 30 likes on that. I know women love this movie. I get it. I understand. It's like fucking Twilight from the 80s because, you know, they just love the dudes in this movie. I get it. But there's a lot of men who fucking love this movie too. Now, I'm not bashing the movie. The fucking movie's good, and it's a hell of a lot better than I ever gave it credit for. But it's amazing to me the amount of people that love this movie. Like, it is like, okay, there's certain movies you could throw out there, and very few people would bash it. Nightmare on Elm Street, Lost Boys, Evil Dead. Those are three movies that I think you would almost get 100% love for from most people. But you could throw out Friday the 13th, and you'll find some detractors. Texas Chainsaw, you'll find some detractors. Probably not Halloween. But something about Lost Boys is a beloved fucking classic. Now, I picked Fright Night in that poll. I just have to say, I've always loved Fright Night. I still think it's better to this day. But I've come around really strongly on Lost Boys because of A, the soundtrack, B, I thought the vampires were all right. I like Kiefer Sutherland in it. I just wish they fleshed it out more. There was so much more we could have got to in this movie that would have made it better, I think. And Blake keeps saying it's scarier. And I agree with him most of the time about, you know, the less you know, the scarier it is. Texas Chainsaw Massacre being an example. But, you know, it's fucking this was a vampire comedy. So it was really hard to be scared of anything in this movie. Like, nothing really bothered me other than maybe when the dog came chasing after, you know, the mom with her dyke hair. But I do like this movie. I give it a 3.5 out of 4 machetes. I would see it again. But I do want to say, I want to throw a shout out to the idiots out there who I would say, you know, I would ask the question, better 80s vampire movies, Lost Boys or Fright Night? And when I share this to groups, every once in a while, there's a fucking moron out there that would say Near Dark. I didn't ask Near Dark. That wasn't the question. Near Dark's a different fucking movie. And I only get two options on these polls. So next time you say Near Dark, I might find out where you live, kick the shit out of you for general purposes like Jay and Silent Bob, and let Vic piss on you because it annoys me and you're stupid. And, you know, when I ask Halloween 2 or Friday the 13th Part 2, I don't see anybody answering Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. You want to know why? Because that wasn't a fucking question. So if you're too stupid to understand what a question is, a simple fucking question, then, you know, you're not allowed to talk. And that's that. That's all I got to say about that.
That's all I got to say about that. Yeah. So no, that was a little bit of what's grinding their gears, kind of thrown into that little
stupid people who think they get to have opinions beyond what
if it makes you feel better, I really in your poll, I voted for Fright Night only because Fright Night is scarier because it is more supposed to be a horror film and a horror comedy. But I don't think, as far as overall vampire stuff, that Fright Night is a better as far as representative of 80s vampire stuff, just because The Lost Boys has, well, let's just face it, The Lost Boys ended up being way more of a box office success, I think, than Fright Night. For a few different reasons. The effects. People that were classic horror fans really liked Roddy McDowall from The Twilight Zone and, you know, Planet of the Apes. They'd already been seeing him for, 20 or 30 years. And then the vampire effects were really good, but I think the vampire effects, they were more subtle in Lost Boys than they were in Fright Night, and that made it seem a little bit more on the realistic side because they were able to be more subtle. Because what makes a vampire scary is that they're able to pass for human. And if you have something that looks like Jerry Dandridge, in his vamped out form, he could not fucking pass for human. At all.
Yeah.
The long fingernails, the fucking
No, he was
contact.
ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it's funny because we had Bill on...
Fright Night's not perfect either, but, you know.
Well, right, by any means, yeah. But you had Bill on for this show, for Lost Boys, and he did the vampire stuff, and then the effects and the stuff, and then you had Steve on because he worked on Fright Night. So we've had both major effects artists from both of those films on, and it's funny that the divide, that the poll has shown Lost Boys has whooped the ass of Fright Night. And again, I voted Fright Night as far as just terms of being scary. Fright Night is scarier. But in terms of effects and being more realistic, Lost Boys takes it. And that's just because of the way that the vampires were executed. But I digress. Anyway, so Travis, what's your rating?
I have to say, too, we have Roddy McDonald, or right where the fuck his name is, from Twilight Zone, that's in Fright Night also, and Chris Sarandon, who's a fucking genre legend at this point, you know? So those are the couple of things that made me get the nod to Fright Night. But my rating was 3.5 out of 4 machetes. So that's a fucking good... I wouldn't have expected it to be over 2.5 whenever I first, you know, my old opinions of the movie. So it's always good to go back and watch something again with fresh take.
True. Very true.
So, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. What are your thoughts on it, buddy, and your rating?
Well, my thoughts on it were, it was really good. It was a really, really good film. I like the effects. I like the overall story. I like the soundtrack is amazing. I can't say enough good things about the soundtrack. This is one of the few soundtracks, other than American Psycho, that I could rock on a headset or something while I was working or writing or whatever, and not want to skip through any of the songs. So it was a really, really good soundtrack. Overall, I really think the movie was really good. It was very realistic as far as, how a vampire could pass for human. And again, that just goes back to the exaggerated features that were in Fright Night. And I really like the storytelling, and I like the pace. It has a good pace. It doesn't feel like it's a slow burn. It starts you out on a what the fuck, and you end on a what the fuck, So it kind of sort of, cements that into your mind. And, again, great effects, great story, some really, really, really amazing one-liners in this film. And some great exchanges, and great cinematography. So I would have to give it, if we're going to do Freddy Calls or, Razor Gloves or whatever, I'd have to give it a 3.5 out of 4 because it still is one of my favorites, and I appreciate that it has aged so well, especially with the style that the vampires were wearing. That sort of style has come back with the skinny jeans and the long hair and the piercings and the crazy dyed hair and the band shirts and spikes and all that. That style has come back again. So I think it's cool that something from that time period still survives as far as cultural is concerned. And The Lost Boys is one of those things that will always go in the pantheon of probably one of the most popular modern vampire films. So that's my take on it, gentlemen.
And that's all he's got to say about that. So what was your rating again?
3.5 Razor Gloves out of 4.
Nice. All right. Fair enough. So 3.5, 2.5. Well, at least Vic gave it enough respect to give it over 2. And mainly because Phil Dog was in it, right, Vic?
Yes.
I mean, that has nothing to do with it. Because I'm gonna feel
Vic, I have one last thought that's gonna upset you. Okay.
What's that?
You ready? This is like the Goonies with vampires.
Oh.
It is
the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
In fact,
you're on drugs. Quit.
Go say you're watching the Goonies and see how many likes you get on your Facebook.
Shut up! You're an alcoholic. Shut up.
That's the top on the Kettle Black, isn't it? What the fuck?
It is like the Goonies with vampires. You can't tell me it's not. You got a bunch of fucking kids on a little journey, and it's vampires instead of tards or whatever robbers.
No, that's dumb.
I was gonna mimic Vic and be like, yes,
Yeah, sure, that's right.
That's dumb.
But Goonies does get a higher IMDb rating.
Because a whole lot better movie. But anyway, there's a Goonies slot machine at the boat now.
Do you play it every time?
Every time I've only been able to play it once. Every time I go, it's like got a line of people there because Goonies is awesome.
There exists a Twilight Zone slot machine, but probably not at that casino, which is sad. Because if there was, maybe I'd actually go.
You guys keep talking the Twilight Zone, and I have to bring up, you probably saw my cousin in one of those episodes.
Yeah, she told me about that last week. The Last Rites of Jeff Myrtlebank, 1962. Yeah. He was Jeff Myrtlebank. Yeah, James went on to play Roscoe P. Coltrane in The Dukes of Hazzard. So if you look at a younger picture, find a younger picture of James, and then look at me, a picture of me, and you will see it's spitting image. It's so funny because he's a cousin, but we favor in our younger years. If you go to his Wikipedia page, Travis, I want you to do it right now while we're on the phone. Go to his Wikipedia page, James Best, and then look at the picture, and James Best, B-E-S-T, like my last name. Oh, that's easy.
Yeah, James Best, and then put a mustache on the picture they have up. It's from the early Western frontier. Put a mustache on it. Look at his eyebrows. Look at his mustache. Yeah, he is my second cousin. Yeah.
That's
my
funny.
second cousin. He died. But yeah, it's hilarious, man.
I like that. Hilarious. I like that episode, by the way, The Last Rites of Jeff Myrtlebank.
I thought it was really good too, and he was in two other episodes of the Twilight Zone too. I think the one was it came out before The Last Rites of Jeff Myrtlebank. I think it was
Jeff Bell.
Huh?
He was in The Grave, and then he was
in
Jeff Bell.
Yeah, he was in both of those.
I don't.
And then he was in Alfred Hitchcock Presents too. That was kind of a popular show. And Wagon Train. He did a lot of westerns. Yeah.
That's fucking awesome. Well, as always, my horror adventures have taken me to a lot of Twilight Zone episodes. I've been doing different things. Like there's this Twilight Zone fucking random episode generator, but most of the time it fucking generates the same ones, and most of them aren't good. So I started going to Ranker, and they have all the Twilight Zone episodes ranked, which I don't agree with them. They're wrong, but I just kind of been picking episodes from here and there. I've seen them all, but I love watching them whenever I'm drinking wine, fucking 9 o'clock on a Wednesday night type thing. But so I've been watching that. But the only other movie that I can think of that I've watched over the last week or so is Bad Samaritan, which I went and saw today. And Bad Samaritan was good. Well, actually, I saw Rampage last week. I forgot to tell you that. It was good. Or maybe I mentioned it already. Vic, did I mention it last week?
I think so. Did. I don't know. I remember you talked about it, but I'm not sure if we talked about it on the show or like on the call.
Well, just so I don't forget, I saw Rampage with The Rock. It was good. Don't go out of your way to see it, but catch it on DVD or Blu-ray if you get a chance. Bad Samaritan, I caught that today. It's got David, whatever the fuck his name is, from Doctor Who. And I know this guy from Jessica Jones. He was the bad guy in the first season. Anyway, he plays
David Tennant?
Yes. He plays a serial killer in this movie, and he is fucking excellent. And the movie reminds me of The Collector because you got to, now I'm not spoiling anything. This is the plot. You've got a burglar who breaks in and finds somebody tied up, a woman tied up, and then it goes from there, and I'll leave it alone from there, and you can just watch it, judge for yourself. I give it probably a low 3. If you have Movie Pass, go out and see it. If not, wait till it comes out on Redbox or whatever. But it was fun, and I was glad I went and saw it. So that's where my horror adventures have taken me, and that's really all I have. What about you, fellas? I'm going to go outside and piss in the bushes.
Well, I watch Kids. It's not really horror, but it is one of the best movies of all time. So
yes, it is.
Yeah, I think that's all I've watched week, really, maybe. I don't know. I've worked a lot. But I watch kids, and that's all that matters in my life.